Essentially, I'm about to build up my character right now, and I'm probably going to put it all in stats, all my money in stats. Member of the Knights Templar, Clydesdale, and more or less, the Knights Templar will destroy you. It will drop you. It'll be like, it'll be as if Camelot herself had come alive once again, descended with her cavalry, which...
The Roman-style cavalry, very heavy horses.
Very, very heavy.
Biggest war horses in the world at the time.
Yes, and bred for breeding for generations. And
yeah, Arthur Pendragon.
KT would rock anybody in real life.
You have a good prayer there?
Bottom line, buddy, when the Germans took siege of Paris, the people in Paris, the government, they were like, fuck this shit, we've already lost the war. You know what I mean? The Germans beat our ass, this is unbelievable. This confederation, led mainly by Prussia, has destroyed the German forces. Had them besieged for a long period of time, and peace, Paris was like, here's our peace terms, here's the treaty. And Germany said, oh, okay, I guess, but we, I think they got a little bit of land from them.
Wow.
I'm not sure about that. But then also, one of the terms of peace was that the Parisians would allow the German armies, what they called the German armies led by Prussia, triumphal entry into the city. Which I think that was the first of more than, that happened more than once. I think we all know, a very particular one that occurred, when the French, when the French fell. That's fucked up. We are not Nazis. Pro-Israel. I study German military tactics, strategy.
Jack, what's with your fascination with Nazi military aesthetics, panzers, the Stuka Die
Why?
bombers?
I'll tell you why. Number one,
Stuka's not even that effective.
It is very effective.
Camera, Phil.
Very effective. And I'll tell you why. Number one, Stuka dive bomber. That was the first kind of air. That was the first time that an airplane was used in a. That was the first time that an airplane was used in essentially as the role of field artillery. Don't waste my battery in my patroller, Rob.
Damn, John.
Anyways, okay,
I'm blinded now.
the Germans put into place a couple of theories brought about by English professors and military strategists who, after the First World War, said, fuck this shit, we need to have breach strategy. We need to be able to breach the front lines. Instead of trying to go all the way across in one solid line of troops going against their solid line like they did in World War I, fuck that, they said. We need to concentrate, bam, into one force against their solid line, punch through, and then go right to the line. Go right to the rear of the lines, okay? So nobody was really paying them much heed though, except for Germany. Germany said, okay, we're gonna make the first armored division. They created the first grouping of mass tanks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And what do we use now? Mass tanks. It's like common, we have tank divisions. Germans were the first to create that. Number two, they were also the first to actually utilize those tactics successfully, relying on sneak, cutting through the lines and spearheads, going to the rear, encircling enemies very quickly, destroying communication stations, leaving the front lines that have been passed through. Like, what the fuck is going on? We don't have radio contact with our headquarters. What's going on? It worked brilliantly for the Germans. This is why I study their military tactics. They revolutionized the textbook of modern warfare. And as far as the Stuka dive bomber goes, Stuka dive bomber was essentially used as a field piece. The Germans developed a system of very close coordination between their land forces and sky forces and sea forces, but mainly between the Luftwaffe and the regular German army. Okay, so they had very close coordination. German army, if they came up across tanks or a grouping of enemy bunkers or fortifications that had to be taken out, they would call it in. 5 minutes later, Stukas are coming down at high speeds. This is the first, and they would just hit it and bomb it. They were essentially used as close support field artillery pieces. They were very effective also for the psychological reason. This is the first time that a siren or that a loud noise had ever been put on a Stuka dive. That's like the bomb sound. No, it was much more high pitched than that. Just the sheer terror that would cause in the minds. The first time it had ever been done on an airplane. Especially any airplane used for an attack. Airplane warfare was still
the last war was World War I.
Yeah.
The last war.
So I mean, airplane combat hadn't really been made into what it is today until that war ended, and then it was very clear what's going to dominate what. You have a formation of enemy troops, and all of a sudden they have fucking 7 to 20 Stuka dive bombers in conjunction, screaming down at them, and it looks like they're just going to crash right into them. They didn't pull up to 40, 50 feet. I mean, they don't know what the hell's going on. The whole time they're being strafed. It was very, very effective. The effectiveness of the Stuka dive bomber, and the overall military strategy used in the early part of the war by Germany. Of course, they failed miserably.
Calm down. It's okay.
They failed
This
miserably,
is not World War
which
II.
is a good thing that they did fail miserably because the Nazis were fucked up, and they were no good, and
They're evil.
Very evil, and they had to be taken down.
They're fine with it. I'll give out my heritage. My name is Philip Brannan Hudson. Brannan is a Irish name. Comes from my grandfather. My grandfather.
Camera, fuckface.
Slavic. He is Slavic. Don't let him fool you. His early ancestors, maybe 4 or 5 generations ago, when they moved in shame and in terror from Russia to settle into the United States, they said, "There's no way we want to be known as Slavs."
This is a complete fabrication.
No, it's not. No, he's been brainwashed over 5 generations. Okay, listen. They came and they said, "Fuck this."
5 generations.
We're pale
that was like
enough.
the time of the czars.
We're pale enough. We're gonna change our name to Hudson and say we're from fucking Scotland. People will treat us better.
Look at how red my beard is in this
People
light.
will
Josh,
treat us
you didn't do
better.
that.
He says he's Scottish because that's what he's been told. That's what his dad has been told. That's what his grandpa's been told. But actually, what happened is
I'm talking about
they were ashamed.
my mother's side.
He's
My Grandpa Eddie would
He's
kill
from
you.
Russia.
My Grandpa Eddie carries a machete around like it's fucking.
There are
normal.
lots of tough Slavs. I'm not saying that at all.
My Grandpa Eddie is not a Slavic. He's from my mother's side. He's not related to my dad at all.
I'm German, French,
Jewish.
a little bit of Jewish,
Very
supposedly.
Jewish. Look at this. Look at the beard. He doesn't even look white.
Let's see here. So like about an 1/8% American Indian.
Yeah,
Cherokee.
that's what I'm talking about.
Cherokee.
I like that shit.
That's what I think makes me look the high cheekbones.
They're a very tough.
Like I'm
They're a
Asian
very
or
tough
something.
tribe. Do you know what the most effective unit in the British military was from around 1870 up until World War II?
What's that?
It was the Sikhs. There was a tribe of Sikhs living in northern India. There was this British commander who was like a fucked up guy. He reminds me of my Grandpa Eddie because he looks kind of like him. When I first saw this guy's picture on the History Channel, I'm like, is that my Grandpa Eddie? He was kind of like a... The Brits back then were very hardcore. That's why they had an empire, because they had the will to dominate. Because you can't, if you're a hippie, if you believe that you should be nice and multicultural to everybody, then when someone offends your culture, you're not going to stand up for anything. Because if you think that it's a good thing for you to do, if you get like, you know, people who are full of themselves. I don't even. All right, let me try to formulate. I had a lot of caffeine, Jack. Like fucking 4.
He said he wanted to get jacked. I said I can get you jacked on tea, man, because I went through 100 tea bags in 2 days, friends.
He led like a British brigade in to take these Sikhs, because the Sikhs still had an empire right there. Because the Sikhs, he had no idea what he was waiting for, because these Sikhs were living out in the mountains, right? And they were like isolated. No one knew how fucked up they were. The British were like overwhelmed. They died. But the British commander refused to flee. He was fucking crazy.
What did he do?
He charged them. He charged like a whole bunch of them. All his men were dead, and he fought so bravely. They're like, "You are a true warrior. If we can follow you, if you can be our general, we will switch to England." Because they knew that England would, after these guys were fucked up, would send in more, and they would eventually be destroyed. Yes, they were so impressed with his manliness and his will.
They probably said, stop fighting, and he was just left there like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he was
all
like,
pumped up on adrenaline, boy. All pumped up, fucking red-eyed, be all fucking blood everywhere.
he was ready to go.
Fucking frenzy.
They were.
Basically, the Germans put Paris under siege. The Germans put Paris under siege, and Paris eventually said, fuck this, and they declared truce. They declared truce with the Germans because they were like, what the fuck, we just got our asses beat, we might as well try to get some kind of a peace treaty, okay? So, but Germany was like, okay, we'll sign your peace treaty, but as a condition for this terms of peace, Germany, what they call themselves, although Prussia led it by far. Prussia was really the force. Germany demanded to have a triumphal entry into Paris, which I think was their first one ever.